5 Stellantis models that are dividing everyone ahead of 2026. Stellantis has officially revealed parts of its plan for 2026, and the reaction across the automotive world has been anything but calm, instead of quiet approval. These announcements have triggered arguments, frustration, and some very uncomfortable questions, because with each of these models, buyers are being forced to decide whether they're watching smart evolution or the slow erasing of what made these brands matter in the first place. Some people see a company adapting to stricter regulations, rising fuel standards, and changing buyer habits. Others see familiar nameplates being reshaped until they barely resemble the vehicles loyal owners originally fell in love with. And that's what makes this moment different. This isn't about one controversial redesign, it's about a pattern, 5 vehicles, 5 familiar names, and 5 decisions that have pushed Stellantis straight into the center of a debate that refuses to cool down. These are the 5 most controversial Stellantis models coming for 2026, and why they've split the car world right down the middle. Number 5, Jeep Comanche. The Comanche name carries real emotional weight for Jeep fans. In its original form, the Comanche stood for simplicity, durability, and usefulness above everything else. It wasn't bought for comfort, it wasn't bought for technology, it was bought because it worked, whether it was hauling gear, handling rough terrain, or getting beaten up day after day without complaint. That history explains why the announcement of its return created instant excitement. Many people imagined a compact pickup that stayed true to Jeep's rough and ready character, something you could scratch, load, abuse, and trust. And that's exactly where the concern begins. Early information points toward a modernized Comanche designed to appeal to a broader audience. More comfort features, more screens, more refinement, more influence from current market trends instead of old school priorities. For longtime Jeep owners, that shift feels uneasy. Think about how the original Comanche was actually used. Landscaping equipment went straight into the bed. Camping gear got tossed in without a second thought. Interior materials barely mattered. What mattered was trust. Trust that the truck would keep going. Now the question isn't whether the new Comanche will be competent. It probably will be. The question is whether the name is being reused without honoring what made it special. For new buyers, the 2026 Comanche may look like a practical, modern pickup that fits everyday life. For purists, it risks feeling like a familiar badge placed on something fundamentally different, and that tension already defines its return. Number 4, Ram Dakota. For many enthusiasts, the Dakota represents one of Ram's boldest ideas. When it was last on sale, it filled a gap few others dared to touch. It offered mid-sized dimensions with power options that felt oversized, including a V8 that instantly set it apart. It wasn't trying to blend in, it was doing its own thing. That's why confirmation of its comeback generated so much buzz. A true mid-sized truck with Ram attitude sounded like exactly what the segment needed. Then reality set in. Current expectations suggest the 2026 Dakota will share much of its foundation with the Gladiator. Platform sharing itself isn't unusual, but here's where the debate starts. It risks blurring the identity between 2 vehicles that are supposed to serve different buyers. Picture this scenario. You're standing in a dealership looking at a Dakota and a Gladiator with similar prices and overlapping capabilities. When the differences feel mostly cosmetic, the decision stops feeling exciting and starts feeling confusing. The original Dakota earned loyalty by being distinct. It wasn't just another option in the lineup. If the new version fails to clearly define its purpose, the excitement around its return could fade quickly, especially as pricing edges closer to the $40,000 range. For a truck built on identity, that's a dangerous place to be. Number 3, Ram Rampage. From a strategic perspective, the Rampage makes perfect sense. Compact trucks are growing fast, and Ram currently has no presence in that space. Buyers want manageable size, decent efficiency, and just enough utility for everyday tasks. And competitors have already proven that formula works. The controversy isn't about the idea. It's about the price. Expectations place the Rampage comfortably above $30,000, and that immediately creates friction. In this segment, affordability isn't a bonus feature, it's the entire point. Buyers shopping compact pickups are often trying to avoid large payments and oversized vehicles. They want something practical, efficient, and easy to live with. Think about why the Ford Maverick works. It hauls weekend supplies, handles daily commuting, and keeps ownership costs reasonable. When the Rampage asks several thousand more for similar utility, buyers are forced to ask an uncomfortable question. Is the badge worth the premium? That pricing strategy suggests Ram believes brand appeal can outweigh value concerns. The problem is that this segment has already shown what it rewards: practicality and price. If that lesson is ignored, the Rampage could struggle even if it's well engineered. Number 2, Dodge Durango. The Durango survived by refusing to blend in. While most three-row SUVs softened their designs and chased neutrality, the Durango leaned into aggression, power, and attitude. It appealed to buyers who wanted something different, something that didn't feel like just another family appliance. That identity is exactly what feels threatened. The 2026 redesign is expected to move towards smoother styling and a more polished presence. For buyers who love the current model's muscular look, that shift feels like losing the very reason they chose it. Powertrain changes add even more tension. Hybrid systems and possible electric variants are expected to take center stage, pushing traditional V8 options into the background or eliminating them entirely. Efficiency will improve, technology will advance, but something emotional disappears in the process. For years, the Durango attracted buyers who didn't want a generic three-row SUV. Changing that formula may bring in new customers, but it risks pushing away the loyal audience that kept the model relevant while others faded. That trade-off explains why opinions around the next Durango are so sharply divided. Number 1, Jeep Cherokee. No announcement has created more backlash than the 2026 Cherokee. This isn't a mild update, it's a complete redefinition of what the Cherokee name represents. The new design abandons the boxy confidence associated with earlier generations and replaces it with smooth crossover style proportions. Jeep points to subtle heritage cues, but many longtime fans struggle to see a meaningful connection. What remains is something that looks modern and pleasant, but not particularly Jeep-like. Mechanical changes deepen the divide. Traditional four-wheel drive systems are gone, replaced by all-wheel drive focused on everyday conditions. For normal commuting, that's fine. For buyers who trusted the Cherokee name in snow, mud, and remote trails, it feels like a loss of identity. The hybrid powertrain adds fuel to the debate. On paper, the numbers look strong, efficiency improves significantly, and performance is adequate for daily use. But what had to be sacrificed to achieve that matters to this audience. Early impressions point toward limited off-road confidence, modest ground clearance, and an experience closer to a Subaru Outback than a traditional Jeep. At a starting price near $37,000, and frustration grows. The Cherokee isn't controversial because it's bad. It's controversial because the product no longer matches the expectations created by the name. Stellantis is relying on decades of reputation while offering something fundamentally different, and that disconnect has ignited one of the loudest debates in recent memory. Final thoughts. Taken together, these 5 vehicles reveal a clear pattern. Stellantis is prioritizing modernization, efficiency, and broader appeal, even when that means redefining what familiar nameplates stand for. For some buyers, that shift feels necessary. For others, it feels like losing something irreplaceable. From the Comanche's uncertain identity, to the Dakota's platform questions, to the Rampage's pricing gamble, and from the Durango's personality shift to the Cherokee's complete reinvention, each model forces buyers to decide how much change they're willing to accept. Whether these decisions pay off or backfire will become clear over time. But one thing is already certain: these 5 models have split the automotive community right down the middle, and that division isn't going away anytime soon.